This is nothing but that sports talk.
And welcome to Nothing But That Sports Talk. And happy Thanksgiving. I'm Rafique Louison alongside David. How are you doing today on this beautiful Thanksgiving day?
Everything's good, Rafiq. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate this, and I hope you're having a great Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is all about family gatherings and stuff. And well, I know your days ain't anything but gatherings and well, the last few days because
Yeah.
college basketball has officially gotten underway, even though we're just 2 days into it. But since you were at the St. John's game, what are your impressions about this so far?
I think they're gonna be good this year. They have a lot. They're deeper now than they were last year. They got some good newcomers coming in, including one Vince Cole, JUCO All American, and another JUCO guy by the name of Isaiah Moore. And then they have the two freshmen from Our Savior Lutheran, Posh Alexander and Dylan Wusu. I think with them in the fold, plus John McGriff, who didn't get to play last year, I think they're gonna do some wonders to
Yeah,
complement the returning players.
yeah, not to mention that they pulled up two impressive wins earlier today. And what you tell me? What's it like being able to work in a game where there's no fans, not even the college students being allowed to games right now during this difficult time?
Wow. What I can say about that is it's different. It's a different environment. Another thing that I see that's different is like the seating arrangements for the players and the coaches. Like they basically put it to the other side of the floor. Where they have like basically multiple rows of people. Yeah, multiple rows of chairs. So it's like three rows of chairs, and then they have all these cardboard cutouts and the sound effects while the teams are playing. Like sound effects where like when we're at games, we don't really hear all this stuff. So that's a whole new experience. But oh yeah, and also photographers have to shoot from the stands now. Um, and then there's also virtual access, like for those that are trying to cover the games, they can do so virtually now. And also we can't actually we can't go to do the press conferences either. So press conferences have to be done virtually.
Just
So
like
that's
with yeah, just like with the NBA and WNBA bubbles, right?
yeah.
So, but
So
then
it's no
again,
more face to face for right now. Everything has to be done virtually.
which isn't really a bad thing when you're trying to cover a game as a freelancer.
Yeah.
Think about it. But let's just get to know your career in the industry. Like, why you decide to get into doing what you do, which is photography and videography for all the basketball games from the first time.
Well, first and foremost, I've always been a writer, and I've been doing the journalism thing for 5 years. Uh, I've been doing this because I loved sports since I was a young kid. Um, I definitely this definitely was always a passion of mine. I love sports and I like to read. So, I felt one day I might as well create something, a platform for myself. And I feel that, when somebody doesn't give you a chance, you create your own opportunities, and that's what I did.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. You create your own opportunities, and that's how you get your foot in the door to cover the college basketball games the way you did. And well,
Hmm.
what are some of the favorite games you covered from last season?
Wow. um, from last season, there's a lot of. You mean like college basketball?
College
We could do
basketball.
like wow. Um, let's see. My favorite games from last season. Vermont St. John's was one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Vermont St. John's. Let me see. Trying to think. That might have been one. That's one of the games. Anything Seton Hall, Temple, Memphis. No, no, yeah, yeah. Maybe a Temple game. Villanova. Oh, I also love going to Villanova. Villanova's definitely a hot spot, especially um when they play at Wells Fargo.
Wow.
Now they have the pyrotechnics in the air. Like whenever they're doing the starting lineups, they have like actual fire like shooting up, and you could feel it from your seat. Like you could feel the heat from your seat. But the game that I loved the most from Villanova was when they played UConn. You know, and being that UConn is back in the Big East, that's gonna make things even more exciting.
Exactly. I saw UConn. Well, the men's side of UConn, Steve wrote their first game towards like all you can say is UConn's back.
Yeah, they
Well,
are.
it's not like they never really left. It's just the women's UConn was supposed to start this week, but given the circumstances,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to wait a little bit. But give me your
Hmm.
impressions about what happened about on the UConn women's side this season coming up, or whenever they start.
Well, Gino Auriemma always has his lady troops ready to ball out on the floor. I mean, UConn's women's team is always UConn. Nothing. I don't expect anything different.
Yeah, I mean, what you can expect, especially when you add Paige Buckers coming out of high school. And that's somebody
Mm.
that covers a lot of high school games during his time. Like, what you love about covering the high school games, and how different is it compared to covering the college basketball games?
High school, there's a lot more. How can I say this? High school, I think it's a little bit more freedom. You could freestyle more, whereas covering college basketball, it's a business. You know, high school ball, you have more. Is There's more There's a lot of people with cameras now, more than ever before, and there's less writers. So like, I feel like writing is more of a rarity. Whereas in college basketball, a lot of the mixtape guys, unless they have a relationship with a player or with a certain school, they're not going to be able to get access because these schools have TV contracts with ESPN, Fox Sports, networks like that. So yes, one side is fun, the other side is big business.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. You're doing an amazing job with the photography and videography since I've been coming to watch college basketball. I've seen you in a lot of games, including LIU and St. Francis games. And well, yeah, I know you
Yeah,
love
St.
those for the
Francis, that's
sport.
my alma mater.
So you went to St. Francis, huh?
Yes, I did. Class of 2018.
Nice. What you love about attending St. Francis, and what is some constructive criticism and advice that you got for building your craft up until this point?
What was the second question?
What was some of the constructive criticism and advice that you got from the people that are like literally ahead of you, or actually been in the game longer than you, to like get to where you are right now to build your craft?
Well, I could say this about St. Francis. It was a great institution, small school. Um, and there's a lot of love from the people there. So I'm glad to be an alumnus of that great institution. Now, as far as the constructive criticism, I would say the best thing that I've been told to do was basically to do my own thing, basically, pretty much, because it's a good thing to always start out your own entity, because when you try to join a major entity, it's like you're just another employee. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have any input, you don't have any say so in what you do. Everything is pretty much controlled. Everything is pretty much controlled for someone else's benefit. So I mean, I have dreams of eventually joining on with a bigger publication. That would be nice, but things have to be right for me to make that move. But I mean, I like the fact that I can control everything that I do.
Yeah, I mean,
Content is basically key right now.
yeah. Sometimes you gotta create your own content and make it established in order for people to take you seriously when they hire you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's all about when you're trying to survive during this whole entire media industry, whether it's photography or videography or on air. And speaking of on air, I understand you do your own podcast. Like, tell me a little bit about it and what you love about doing it up until this point.
So my podcast is called Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Um, so I started that back in May because, as you already know, the pandemic hit, and for a while, basically I was low on content, so I couldn't really go in, like we couldn't really go anywhere. Everything, parks, the rims were taken down, gyms were closed. So I basically decided to, start up something. And yeah, so 85 episode I'm 88 episodes in right now. And I can just read off, the list of some of the people I've interviewed. So got um I've gotten Corey Underwood. He's a former overseas pro. He's very well respected in the basketball community. So he specializes in player development. Jason Gilliam Alexander. He's the assistant coach at Florida Memorial University. Prophet Cates. He's the head coach at Newark Arts High School in Newark, New Jersey. Gary Irvin, the head coach at Nazareth High School. Um, Bob Semino from Mount Vernon. John Sarandria from who used to coach at Tallentine High School in the Bronx, which is now closed. Back in 1988, he led them to the number one ranking in the country. Also, like college coaches like Carmen Massarello from Siena, Joe Gallo from Merrimack, uh, James Barrett from Monroe College, who's also the founder of the Unsigned Hype. Rashamel Jones, who used to play for UConn, he was a part of the first UConn national championship team. Ed Ryan, Pace University. Tevin Baskin, St. Michael's College, he's an assistant up there. Julius Hodge, who was a former NBA player, who's now an assistant at Saint um in at a school in California. Brian Weber from Stony Brook, Tony Bergeron from UMass, Jason Capel from Pitt, Norm Richardson. He's also a G League assistant coach with the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. Just a lot of people in the basketball community. So also, yeah, definitely, it's definitely for those of you that love basketball and love hearing stories. Definitely check it out because it's a lot of stories out there. You know, a lot of stories. From some really good people that many don't know. Oh, Paul Biancardi was also a guest of mine.
Man, all I gotta say is you're doing an amazing job interviewing all the coaches from the
Yeah,
high schools to the pros to the G leagues to
yeah.
college. I mean, you're literally all over the place. Sorry, we
Yeah,
couldn't
I'm
really see
trying.
your face, but you know what? I understand things happen, but yeah. Wow, you're
Yeah, I'm
back
sorry. I'm
on.
sorry. I'm sorry. I went on YouTube on my phone. But yeah, those are just some of the names that I've interviewed so far.
Yeah,
For those of you that want to see all the content, go on YouTube, type in Dave's Joint,
yeah. And I see you done
and
a
hit that
lot of stuff
subscribe
across.
button.
And I see you done a lot of stuff across New York, including Dykeman and Rucker Park. Like, from your
Yeah.
perspective, what you love about doing freelance media at Rucker and Dykeman Park and a lot of different basketball parks across New York?
Well, honestly, I love doing street ball because it's something that I've known since I was a teenager. But more importantly, I love the atmosphere and I love capturing content at these places. Whether it's writing an article, whether it's taking pictures, it's pretty good. Just capturing these moments.
And it's still doing all that stuff that you and I got to meet up at the Nike JDI Classic.
Yes.
Yes, you're the second person I've interviewed. Well, actually, I've interviewed a couple other people that went to Nike JDI Classic, but
Oh.
including Camila from W Slam. I interviewed Christina; she was also there, and of course, I met you there. And that was
Yeah.
when I was we were showing each other all the content that we've done up until that point,
Yeah.
including the big three. But You'll get your chance to cover the Big Three when it comes back next season.
I've tried the big three, but unfortunately they turned me down multiple times. So I don't know why. I really don't. But you
Don't give
know,
up on the hustle, man.
certain events are tough. But I've also even this summer I got to cover a couple events outside of New York. The tip off classic, which is in Sewanee, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the South's best AAU programs. So it was a good event, and also the JUCO showcase, which was in Stone Mountain, Georgia, also outside of Atlanta. That was also a good showcase, because you got to see some of the best junior college players in the nation. Sorry, in the nation. So that was a good those were some good showcases out of town. But I'm also gonna be also a couple. I did a couple events in Delaware and Boston, and outside of Boston. So that's what I did this summer. Now this weekend I'm going to the Thanksgiving Hoop Fest in Dallas. So that's basically you know yeah, that's Imani Bates, the number one junior in the nation. He's gonna be playing there against Duncanville High School. So that's gonna be a sight to see. And then next weekend I'm gonna be in South Carolina, checking out Mikey Williams, and a few other players at the Battle at the Rock showcase in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So, those are just a couple more events that I'm gonna be able to check out.
Wow. I've heard about Mikey Williams. I think it's the kid that been seen in overtime. Yeah, I guess the guy has a future. But all you can do is continue to scroll all over the world covering basketball events, whether it's high school, pros, college, because you never know when you're going to find another standout that's going to put up some serious work in the NBA, just like
Yeah,
the guys that we saw get drafted to the NBA in the month of
yeah.
November, including the one kid that the New Yorkers been buzzing about, Obi Toppin, the son of Obi-Wan Kenobi. What are your impressions about him?
Obi, man, he's gonna do damage with the Knicks, man. I know he's gonna do well in New York. He's a New York kid. I'm sure this is a dream come true for him. But also, he has a younger brother, Jacob, that's at Kentucky now, and a cousin, JoJo, who's at Georgia State. They just beat Georgia Tech last night. So
What?
there's yeah, in four overtimes.
Full overtime? Nah,
Yeah,
son.
four overtimes.
You must have been looking at the stats, or I know you have to.
No, like I
I
just
know
saw
you.
I
I
just
know
saw
you
I just
enjoyed it.
saw I just saw Twitter and it said, and I saw the score. I'm like, wow. It took them four overtimes to beat a high major team.
I mean, you're facing a high major team. Of course, they're gonna give you a tough go at it. Like
Yeah,
this is what you love about college basketball. The games are always competitive.
very. Especially
It's not-
now
yeah.
when there's no fans present.
And what makes it more interesting is that we don't have a national champion going into the tournament. Well, going into the season this time around, thanks to
Yeah,
the pandemic.
yeah. And then another thing that we have to that's basically that's like New York high school basketball. Some people believe that it's not gonna happen because there's a lot outside of the pandemic. From what I hear, the PSAL there may be some financial issues that's gonna preclude them from having a season. Um, and also, yeah, New York State. There's a lot of uncertainty going on right now. A lot of kids are making the move to go to prep schools, being that they're under the impression that there may not be a season. But it's like we'll see what happens.
That's all you can do is see because I don't hear nothing about 80 high school having 80 games this season. But at least we're getting college back, and at least next month we're gonna get the NBA in December 22nd. You
Right.
better watch out for that. What are your
But
impressions about
yeah, I
this?
mean, as far as high school basketball, there are ways. There's kind of a loophole. What they can do is basically high school coaches they could create club teams. Only thing is, all they need is a tournament, a venue, random testing, and they'll be fine. Only thing is the uniforms can't have the school's name on it. because if you saw the games on ESPN earlier this month, Minnehaha Academy, they had to play under Team Sizzle, which is an Under Armour program. Sierra Canyon, they had to play under another assumed name. That's basically going to be happening a lot.
Yeah. And you know what? For the high school teams that are not able to play this season due to the global pandemic, I'm glad you came up with that idea because losing one season of high school ball could really affect your ability to make it all the way to the pros in the long run.
Yeah, and then another thing is like the college coaches are not able to come out and recruit until April. So now they're reduced to live streams. So it's going to be
Well,
very, very hard for them to recruit at this point.
well, if you just, yeah, you do got a point. And even looking at their outstanding highlights isn't really going to tell you anything because you got to actually watch a full game out of them to see how they go. And
Right.
when you're playing NBA 2K, you get a little bit of a taste of all the process that you have to go through in order to make it to the pros.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what are your favorite moments about the sports in 2020 so far when it came back? Right, it's before or after the global pandemic, since we're coming to the end of 2020.
Lakers winning a championship.
I'm
Um,
not surprised.
I'm happy to see LeBron get another championship. And then also the players standing in solidarity. That's
Yeah,
what I love.
yeah, you mean to tell me you're okay with the fact that they took 2 days out of all, not just the NBA, the WNBA, but all sports? Like, I mean, it's understandable because Black Lives Matter is very important. I mean, look at what you and I are. You, it's tough for us Black people to get into the industry because of what we're
Yeah.
dealing with right now.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean,
Very,
it was good that we're
very
creating our own
difficult.
content. And well, it's kind of good. I mean, a lot of my friends kind of hate the fact that the NBA players and WNBA players are getting political, but that's just the reality that we're dealing with. 2020 is the
Mm.
best year to get political, but nobody don't want to see that.
Yeah, man. That's crazy.
But what are you looking forward to the most going into the college basketball season? Which team you think will stand out?
I don't know. Right now, everything is just new. So we'll just see what happens, And then looking for 2021, I just hope that this pandemic, you know, eases up a little bit because it's like we miss the fans in the stands, we miss the camaraderie, we just miss the normalcy of everything, you know. So hopefully, I'm hoping that things go back to normal, like some type of normal, the normal that we used to know before everything started happening in March. So yeah, but I'm just hoping that there's gonna be a really good season, NBA or college.
And that's all we can hope for. But since this is literally the Thanksgiving Day edition of Nothing But That Sports Talk, why don't you tell me that, like, what you love about celebrate Thanksgiving and what are you thankful for those who are just tuning in?
Family and food, but also I'm happy that I'm still able to do the stuff that I love. I'm happy that I'm still employed because a lot of people struggling right now with work and everything like that, and it's just a blessing. It really is.
And that's all you can look for. And now wrap up this edition of Nothing But That Sports Talk. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And to all the big balls out there, get your head in the game.